Accompong is one of 5 historical Maroon villages in Jamaica. It is located in the hills of St. Elizabeth as part of the Cockpit Country, and where Jamaican Maroons and indigenous Taino established a fortified stronghold in the hilly terrains in the 17th century.
That's why we say Accompong. Accompong is the name of the first leader for this community. It was Colonel Accompong who Kojo sent from Nanny's Town in Portland to come here and to started this community over here. So Accompong, who was Nanny's husband, came and started the village. The British started to fight them very hard. And the war between them and the British went on for over 80 years. And in that process, the British spent over £250,000, passes 44 different laws of means and ways of how to get rid of these people. But it all fails. In 1738, when all their ammunitions were done, food was gone, soldiers gone, then they had also sent back to England for more soldiers, more food, more money and the thing. But the king going through his records and saying, well, we have been at it for over 80 years, yet we have nothing to show that we have made any headway to these people. So let us try something else. So in 1737, the King of England granted full powers to John Guthrie, Esquire, and Francis Sadler, Esquire, to come to Jamaica and to see if he can find these people and to make a peace treaty with them. They met on January 6, 1738. At a cave now known as the Peace Cave. And at that cave, a peace treaty was signed between the people who are now known as the Maroons and the British. And in that treaty, we had a right for self-governance. We had the right to own our own lands. Hence today, we are living in lands separated and apart from outer Jamaica. And that land that we live in is known as the Cockpit Country. That's why the name Cockpit Country means it's a country within a country. You see, so we are living in a different country from the Jamaican country. But everybody just says Jamaica. But it's a country within a country.
On January 6 each year, the Accompong Maroons celebrate the anniversary of the signing of the 1739 Peace Treaty with the British. Held in Accompong, St. Elizabeth, this festival marks the victory of the Maroons in the First War against the British, in which they fought for their freedom, led by their late hero, Kojo.
We are not celebrating the signing of the Peace Treaty by itself. We do commemorate both. So both we do. Instead of having one march and one no, we just do both.
Day because they also use the occasion of Kojo's birthday to celebrate or to mark or commemorate the peace treaty. The peace treaty was actually signed in March 1, 1739, but rather than have two separate functions, for logistical and financial reasons, they move up the Treaty Day. So it's Treaty Day and it's Kodja's birthday.
Over there, over the mountain there, that's where the peace cave is. Roughly 3 miles from here, that's where the peace treaty was signed. Down on that side, about a mile and a half, that's where the old town, that's where the town usually located. This that we are under now, it's called the Kinder tree. It's a mango tree which is over 300 years old. That's where Kodjo, Captain Kodjo, used to have his war council.
The festival culminates in a traditional march to the reverenced Kinder tree, where a specially prepared maroon dish of unsalted pork, seasoned with allspice, is consumed with yams. Afterwards, an all-night sound system party rocks until daybreak.
This 2.5-hour celebration under the Kinder tree, the Maroons will go to the old town and recreating really where they went when they didn't want anyone else to hear what they were discussing. After that, they will move to Kodja's monument, which you would have seen as you came into Accompong, to celebrate the birthday part of it. And in the afternoon after lunch, there'll be the civic ceremony right at the parade ground, where I think Mr. Vivian Crawford from IOJ, the Institute of Jamaica, will be the main speaker. And we'll have more drumming and more dancers and dancing, and you'll see lots of food and lots of craft items. It's a wonderful day.
Today is a good day. And January 6th is a day that should be celebrated not just for the Maroons, not just for Accompong, but for the entire Jamaica and for the entire African diaspora. Each year that I come, I realize that it is getting bigger and bigger. And I hope that there will be a time when all over Jamaica, people recognize that this pilgrimage to Accompong should be made because it signifies so much. And it doesn't just signify a lot for the Maroons, but it signifies a lot for us as black people. The Maroons represent what is possible. The Maroons represent what you can achieve when you set your minds to a task. The Maroons represent that we are all born kings and queens, that we are all born to be great, that we were never meant to be slaves, but that we are free people, and it is for us to claim our destiny. What a good way to start a new year, by reminding ourselves that we are kings and queens, that we have a destiny to be great, and that nothing can stop us but ourselves.
That we understand well enough what is taking place. This is a sovereign people. this is their land with their own boundaries. That is not respected well enough. You know, you kind of think people kind of are dismissive of it as some kind of fading history. But it's a sovereign territory with its own leadership and its own government. And if we're to take the Maroons seriously, we would accord to them full rights. So, for example, while we're here, you've seen people showing us the local currency. And some people see it as play money. But again, if you respect a people, if you respect their own sovereignty, you respect development like that. Whether that becomes used only here or wider, I can't say. What I can say, though, is that we need to be able to move over and allow them to be able to develop this in its fullest. You know, they should have to be scrounging around and begging for a little help here or a little help there. No, this is a sovereign people. The world knows that, and that's why you see so many people coming here to study it. Here in Jamaica, we have to respect it and give it the kinds of, promote it in the way that it really should be promoted.
I've been in a search since about the late 90s because I kept feeling something contrary to the Christianity I was brought up in. And since then, I've gone as far as going to Africa, becoming initiated in the Dagara tradition out of Ghana, Burkina Faso, the Ivory Coast, as an elder. So I've been going deeper in my spirituality to connect with Tabia, and I have. And feeling that there's truly a Maroon connection. And this is I just came here to really feel it. And I feel a connection, I really do. But the next step is going through the records, basically, to find out more information, to see if there's a true Maroon connection. But when I'm in Africa, I've done DNA studies, and it takes me right back to that tribe in Africa, the Dagara tribe. So I think I'm on my way, and what I'm doing now is just waiting for more information. It comes to me through meditation, through rituals, being with my ancestors. I think I'll gain more clarity.
We know we have our history of 282 years of how we overcome. I was telling somebody when I was there, when I was a little boy and I left Jamaica and I went to the United States, I was sitting in a history class and they made me learn this speech by Abraham Lincoln called the Gettysburg Address. And till this day, I still remember the speech. It started something like 4 years ago. Our forefathers set forth on this new nation, a new nation conceived in liberty, dedicated to the proposition that all men are created equal. And I remember sitting in the class and telling him, that wasn't the first time that folks overcame the British monarchy. I said, I came from a place and a people who long before America got its rights, that we defeated the British. And he looked at me and said, no, you were wrong. And I said, no. My people told me, my auntie told me, my cousins told me, my mother told me that the Maroons defeated the British. And he actually downgraded my grade. But I am so glad, as an overseas Maroon, that the world is coming to know our contribution to the human family. We have such a noble heritage that sometimes I think we forget our place in human history. Slavery tried to push us out of human history, but our forefathers stood up and says, I have a place at the family of humanity. And Maroons, from near and far, beyond the 6th of January, beyond today, After the celebrations and the festivities is over, we need to stop and think seriously, what does it mean to be a Maroon? For me, it's a person to stand up against injustice, whether it's in the country, out of the country, wherever we see injustice. We stand up as our forefathers did and fight for those who's less than we are.
We celebrate 282 years of recognition of the Maroons as a sovereign community. In my first 2 visits to Accompong, I spoke about the human desire that is universal to live in freedom and the importance of honoring peace agreements. This is as true today as it was at the time of Captain Kojo. The celebration of Maroon culture and tradition is a reminder to all that this community has its own history and its own folklore. Now, I've met in my time in Jamaica people, many successful people, who have their origins in the Maroon community all over the country. And I'm proud to say that Her Majesty the Queen, Queen Elizabeth, after whom this parish may have been named, but perhaps a prior Elizabeth, that in the New Year's honours list, she awarded the Order of the British Empire to the son of a Maroon. His name is now Owen Williams, OBE. He is the son of the late Babes Williams of Accompong. Your son is now an OBE. For those of you who do not know of his achievements, he's the chief executive of one of our biggest health authorities in England, the National Health Service in West Yorkshire. Now, for 225 years, meaning before Jamaica itself became an independent country, the role of maintaining the agreement with the Maroons rested with Britain. Now, we've not always honored it in good faith, but each time we come and speak to you, we attest that original agreement and that commitment that we made to you. It is only right that this responsibility is now transferred to the government of Jamaica. Now, we share your concern for the protection of cockpit country, and work has now started in working out the area that will fall under the conservation program. And I, together with many diplomats, attended the inauguration of the boundary survey, funded in part by the European community. Now, at the expense of controversy, I will say that there are and always will be good economic reasons for mining. But it is the responsibility of government and of business to ensure that this is done with the consent and agreement of the community. Environmental protection regulations have to be fully complied with, and they should only be in designated areas with total transparency and responsibility. I also believe that this island as a whole can learn from what you have achieved here in Accompong. You have next to near no crime and no violence. Reach out to your fellow Jamaicans and show them how to resolve disputes without resorting to killing one another.
masters of our own destiny. Marcus Garvey was always fervent in the promotion of economic development as a platform on which respect for the race is to be constructed. We accept that the promotion of creative enterprise and entrepreneurship must be at the forefront of our activities. When you walk up and down here, you see economic empowerment, don't you? And this is why I have been making sure that through my ministry, we work closely with the Accompong community to promote more creative enterprises in order to expand the gains from future staging of this festival. And those who come here, especially those from foreign, those from abroad, must be able to take with them souvenirs. Souvenirs like the one I'm wearing, jewelry like the one I'm wearing. Spend your money in Accompong and take back the craft that is made here. So through economic opportunities and through a program which I introduced called Economic Opportunities Development Program, we will continue to work closely with Accompong in order to ensure that more citizens are able to reap economic gains from this annual festival. It is not enough for our people to remember. That remembrance must also help us economically. It's not about just the emotion, but we have to be empowered. And when you are empowered, when you can earn money from celebrating, when you can turn this into making it work for you, then we are economically empowered. So for 2020, we join forces with Accompong to put in place the necessary infrastructure for economic advancement as our ancestors would wish it. Every year, there is a promise to do something about the road. Every year, there is a promise that we're going to do something about the infrastructure. Well, this year is not a promise. The mayor and I had a discussion. It won't be a promise. We are going to see that it gets done. So as we celebrate the life of Captain Kodjo and his warriors, let the memory of their struggle and triumph inspire us to continue the work of building a peaceful and prosperous Jamaica, a country that will last and be an example to the whole human race. And as I say good night and I end my comments, I want to say to each and every one of you that is standing here tonight, that is listening to me, you personally must make a commitment. You don't just come here to have fun. You come here to understand the struggles of our ancestors. You're here to make that commitment that in modern day Jamaica, you will also contribute to the building of your country, to the future of your children, so that many, many years to come, when you're old and gray or you're gone, your children can stand there and praise you like we are praising our ancestors, Granny, Nanny, Kodjo, and all the great Maroons who came before us. God bless you all. One love, one heart, one destiny. Bless you.